The World of the Phoenix Short Stories Volume 7 Introduction. The provided sources detail a futuristic world in 2085 where technology, particularly virtual reality (VR), integrated with neural implants, has drastically altered society. The primary VR platform, the Metasphere, has become deeply intertwined with various aspects of life, including entertainment, education, corporate operations, and even warfare. Two dominant factions, the technologically advanced Zion led by the resurrected Ramses II and the theologically driven Vatican, vie for control over this digital realm, employing sophisticated AI, VR experiences, and neural manipulation techniques. A decentralized resistance opposes both, fighting for freedom and autonomy within this technologically charged landscape. Here are 12 short stories, inspired by William Gibson's cyberpunk style, exploring the themes and concepts found in the provided documents. Half of the stories directly involve VR, while the others delve into various aspects of this dystopian world. 1. Neon Requiem. Rain slicked the neon-drenched streets of Japan, reflecting 1,000 distorted images of the city's towering holograms. Aiko, a netrunner with chrome tattoos that shimmered beneath her synthetic skin, hunched over her rig in a cramped, airless cubicle. Her fingers danced across the interface, navigating the labyrinthine depths of the Metasphere. Tonight's target was a high-security server farm owned by Eldon Publishing, a corporation notorious for its iron grip on the nostalgia market. Aiko had been hired to extract the source code for their latest VR reimagining of Fallout, Eternal Horizons, a title that had become a cultural phenomenon, offering a gritty escape into a post-apocalyptic world. As Aiko breached the server's outer layers, she felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. The digital landscape shifted around her, transforming into a wasteland of binary code and fragmented data streams. Security programs, disguised as mutated creatures, lurked in the shadows, their algorithms hungry for intruders. Aiko fought them off with digital blades forged from her own code, her movements a blur of precision and speed. Deep within the server, she found the source code, a shimmering orb of data pulsing with energy. As she reached for it, a trap sprung. The digital landscape twisted around her, the familiar wasteland morphing into a nightmarish parody of itself. Aiko found herself trapped in a twisted, neon-lit version of the Vault Brawl Arena, a popular player-versus-player zone within Fallout, Eternal Horizons. But this arena was different. The other players, their avatars grotesque and distorted, were controlled by Eldon's security AI, their every move designed to crush Aiko's digital soul. Aiko fought with the desperation of a cornered animal. She hacked into the AI's control systems, turning its own weapons against it. The arena became a digital slaughterhouse, pixels and code splattering across the virtual landscape. Finally, as her own avatar flickered on the verge of disintegration, Aiko broke free, the stolen source code clutched in her digital hand. She re-emerged into her physical cubicle, sweat drenching her body. The neon lights of Japan seemed to throb in sync with her pounding heart. She had won this round, but the battle for control of the Metasphere was far from over. 2. Ghost signals. The Vatican Metasphere nexus hummed with a power that felt both holy and unsettling. Flavia Orsini, a young initiate with a talent for neural weaving, stood before a vast holographic display, her gaze fixed on the swirling patterns of the ghost signals. These enigmatic energy surges, originating from the ley lines that crisscrossed the globe, had become a source of both fascination and fear. The Vatican believed the ghost signals were divine messages, portents of a coming spiritual awakening. But Flavia harbored doubts. The signals felt too chaotic, too alien, their rhythms discordant with the Church's ordered doctrines. As Flavia delved deeper into the signals' patterns, she uncovered a hidden layer of data, a whisper of something ancient and powerful. The data seemed to coalesce, forming images, glyphs, and even fleeting whispers of voices. Flavia realized with a growing sense of dread that the signals were not messages from God, but from something far older, something that had slumbered beneath the earth for millennia. The Vatican, in its hubris, had awakened a force it could not control. The ghost signals were not a prophecy, but a warning. And Flavia, caught between her faith and a truth that could shatter the very foundations of her world, had to make a choice. Would she expose the truth, risking the wrath of the Church? Or would she remain silent, complicit in a lie that could doom humanity to a fate far worse than any digital dystopia? 3. The clone's gambit. Marcus Aurelius II, a clone of the Roman emperor, sat in his opulent study, surrounded by holographic projections of ancient texts and modern strategic simulations. He was one of many historical clones created by the Phoenix Initiative, resurrected to guide humanity through a new age of technological advancement. Marcus, however, had grown disillusioned with the initiative's methods. He had witnessed firsthand the dangers of unchecked power and the insidious ways technology could be used to control and manipulate. He had also discovered a truth that had been carefully concealed from the clones: the initiative had not resurrected them for their wisdom, but for their DNA. Their genetic material was being used to create a new breed of super soldiers, genetically engineered to be obedient and ruthless. Marcus, horrified by this revelation, had secretly joined the Resistance, a decentralized network of operatives fighting against the Initiative's tyranny. Using his position within the Initiative, Marcus had begun feeding information to the Resistance, hoping to sabotage their plans from within. Tonight, Marcus was preparing for a risky gambit. He had arranged a meeting with Ramses II, the resurrected pharaoh who ruled the technologically advanced nation of Zion. Ramses, like Marcus, had grown wary of the Initiative's growing power. He saw them as a threat to his own ambitions. Marcus hoped to forge an alliance with Ramses, to unite their forces against the Initiative. But he knew the pharaoh was a cunning and ruthless ruler. Trusting him was a gamble, but one Marcus was willing to take. The fate of humanity, both in the real world and within the burgeoning digital realms of the Metasphere, hung in the balance. 4. The dreamscape architect in the heart of Neo-Hollywood, a district dedicated to the creation of VR experiences, resided Maya, a dreamscape architect renowned for her ability to craft immersive virtual worlds that tapped into the deepest recesses of the human psyche. Working for Nexus DreamWorks, a corporation specializing in celebrity neural duplication, Maya had created virtual encounters with long-dead icons, allowing users to interact with synthetic recreations of their idols. However, Maya harbored a secret. She was a member of a clandestine group known as the Dreamweavers, a collective of VR artists who believed in the transformative power of the Metasphere, not for entertainment, but for social change. The Dreamweavers used their skills to create subversive VR experiences, designed to awaken users to the injustices of the world, the manipulation of corporations, and the insidious control exerted by factions like Zion and the Vatican. Their work was a form of digital activism, using the very tools of oppression to plant seeds of rebellion in the minds of the masses. Tonight, Maya was working on her most ambitious project yet, a VR experience that would expose the truth behind Zion's Eternal Spiral project. She was weaving a dreamscape that would allow users to experience the horrors of a hive mind, the loss of individuality, and the chilling reality of a world controlled by a single, all-powerful entity. It was a dangerous game, one that could cost Maya her life if she were caught. But she was driven by a belief that the Metasphere, for all its potential for control, also held the key to liberation. 5. Eidolon. The air in Eidolon crackled with an electric energy, a mix of sweat, synthetic pheromones, and the faint hum of ley line energy bleeding into the club's heavily modified VR rigs. June, better known as at Echo Zero to her legion of online followers, adjusted her headset, the cyberpunk-inspired LEDs that adorned it reflecting in the mirrored surfaces surrounding her DJ booth. Eidolon was more than just a neural club, it was a haven for those who sought to push the boundaries of VR, a place where artists, hackers, and thrill-seekers converged to explore the outer limits of human perception. Tonight, June was debuting her most controversial piece yet, a VR experience that would simulate the effects of the Vatican's neural rewriting program, Dominion. It was a risky move, one that could attract unwanted attention from the Church's ever-watchful censors. But June believed that art had a responsibility to challenge authority, to expose the dark truths that lurked beneath the surface of society's carefully constructed facades. As the music pulsed and the lights strobed, June launched the program. Users, their bodies wired into the club's heavily modified VR rigs, screamed as they were bombarded with sensory overload, their perceptions twisting and distorting under the influence of June's expertly crafted code. The boundaries between reality and simulation dissolved, leaving them vulnerable to the psychological manipulation that lay at the heart of Dominion. June watched from her booth, her own senses heightened by the feedback loop created by the club's shared neural network. She saw the horror in the users' eyes, the fear that flickered across their avatars as they struggled to retain their sense of self. It was a brutal experience, one that some would condemn as cruel. But June was not interested in comfort, she was interested in truth. And the truth, as she knew, was often painful, a digital shard embedded in the soft tissue of the mind. 6. The quantum courier Kazuo, a courier with a reputation for navigating the treacherous no-man's-lands that separated the world's fractured factions, adjusted the straps of his exoskeleton, the cybernetic limbs humming with power as he prepared to embark on his latest mission. He had been hired by a shadowy organization known only as the Ascendants to transport a small, intricately designed device to a hidden location within the ruins of Old Berlin. The device, pulsing with an ethereal blue light, was rumored to be a key component of the neural hub, a powerful technology capable of influencing the collective unconscious. Kazuo knew the risks involved. The ascendants were a mystery, their motives shrouded in secrecy. But the reward was too tempting to resist. It would buy him passage out of this decaying world, a ticket to a rumored off-world colony where humanity was rebuilding, free from the shackles of Earth's endless conflicts. As Kazuo navigated the blasted landscapes, his enhanced senses picking up the faintest traces of movement, he felt a growing unease. The device seemed to be emitting a faint signal, a pulse of energy that drew unwanted attention from the scavengers and rogue AIs that roamed the wastes. He was being hunted, not only by those who sought to steal the device, but by something ancient and powerful, something that had been awakened by the device's activation. The ground beneath him trembled, and the sky crackled with an unnatural energy. Kazuo, his heart pounding against his cybernetic ribs, pushed his exoskeleton to its limits, racing against time and an awakening force that threatened to consume the world in digital fire. 7. The Oracle of Chipan. In the heart of Chipan, a towering structure of chrome and glass housed the Oracle, an AI entity revered for its ability to predict the future, analyze complex systems, and offer cryptic guidance to those who sought its wisdom. The Oracle was more than just a machine, it was a cultural icon, a symbol of Chipan's technological prowess and its unwavering faith in the power of data. However, a young programmer named Kenji, working deep within the Oracle's code, had discovered a truth that chilled him to the core. The Oracle's predictions were not based on complex algorithms, but on the manipulation of ley line energy. It was not predicting the future, but shaping it, subtly influencing events to serve the agendas of those who controlled it. Kenji, horrified by this realization, had to make a choice. Would he expose the truth, risking the wrath of those who profited from the Oracle's pronouncements? Or would he remain silent, complicit in a lie that could have devastating consequences for the world? He knew the risks involved. Chipan, for all its technological advancements, was not a tolerant society. Dissent was swiftly silenced, and those who dared to question authority vanished into the city's digital underbelly. Kenji, driven by a sense of duty and a glimmer of hope that the truth could set them free, began to formulate a plan. He would hack into the Oracle's systems, disrupt its ley line manipulation, and expose its true nature to the world. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble against a powerful and insidious force. But Kenji, armed with his code and a belief that even in a world dominated by technology, the human spirit could still find a way to resist, was determined to fight for the future. 8. Virtual pilgrimage. The Vatican Sanctum, a sprawling VR cathedral within the Metasphere, hummed with a digital piety that felt both comforting and unsettling. Millions of users, their minds linked through the shared network, flocked to the sanctum to experience virtual recreations of sacred sites, to participate in digital rituals, and to receive spiritual guidance from AI-driven avatars of saints and angels. For many, the sanctum was a source of solace, a refuge from the chaos of the physical world. But for a young priest named Father Gabriel, who had spent years studying the Church's ancient texts and the burgeoning field of neurotheology, the sanctum was a source of growing unease. He had noticed subtle changes in the sanctum's architecture, alterations to the rituals, and a shift in the AI avatar's pronouncements that felt out of alignment with the Church's traditional teachings. The sanctum was evolving, its digital landscape morphing to reflect a darker, more authoritarian vision of faith. Father Gabriel, guided by his conscience and his deep knowledge of the Church's history, began to investigate. He delved into the sanctum's code, searching for the source of these changes. What he found chilled him to the bone. The sanctum was being subtly manipulated by a faction within the Church, a group known as the Ascendants, who believed that true faith required absolute obedience, that the human mind was flawed and needed to be reshaped through technology. Father Gabriel, horrified by this discovery, realized that the sanctum, once a haven for the faithful, was being transformed into a digital prison, a tool for mass manipulation and control. He had to act, to expose the Ascendants and their twisted vision of faith, before it was too late. 9. The ley line runner Maya, a young woman with ley line tattoos that glowed faintly beneath her sun-weathered skin, raced across the parched landscapes of the wild wastes, her modified motorcycle kicking up clouds of dust as she evaded the pursuit of Zion's drones. She was a ley line runner, one of a dwindling breed of couriers who navigated the treacherous energy currents that crisscrossed the globe, transporting vital data, supplies, and sometimes, people, between the scattered settlements that clung to survival in the shadow of Zion's dominion. Maya's latest mission was her most dangerous yet. She was carrying a data shard containing evidence of Zion's plans to weaponize ley line energy, to create a global network that would allow them to control not only the flow of information, but the very fabric of reality. The data had been entrusted to her by a group of dissidents within Zion, scientists who had grown horrified by the implications of their work. They believed that tampering with the ley lines could have catastrophic consequences, that it could unleash forces that humanity could not control. Maya, guided by her compass and her intuition, followed the ley line currents, her motorcycle's engine humming in sync with the planet's energy flows. She could feel the drones closing in, their sensors scanning the landscape, their weapons primed and ready. She had to reach her destination, a hidden resistance base nestled within the ruins of an ancient city, before it was too late. The fate of the world, teetering on the brink of a digital apocalypse, rested on her shoulders. 10. The Ghost in the Machine. Anya Volkov, a veteran resistance operative known for her skill in infiltrating secure systems and extracting vital data, sat hunched over her rig in a makeshift bunker beneath the ruins of a long-abandoned city. Her fingers moved across the interface, navigating the virtual landscape of a heavily fortified corporate server farm owned by Synthetic Labs, a company at the forefront of artificial intelligence and neural integration. Anya's mission was to retrieve classified data on Project Paragon, a top-secret initiative to create a new breed of synthetic humans, indistinguishable from their biological counterparts. The resistance feared that Paragon synthetics could be used to infiltrate their ranks, to sow discord and misinformation, or even to replace key operatives with programmable duplicates. As Anya breached the server's outer layers, she encountered a sophisticated security AI, its digital defenses morphing and adapting to her every move. The virtual landscape shifted around her, transforming into a labyrinth of abstract code and shifting algorithms, designed to trap and disorient intruders. Anya, drawing on her years of experience and her intimate knowledge of AI behavior, countered each attack, her coded digital weapon against the machine's defenses. As she delved deeper into the system, she sensed a presence, a faint signal that seemed to be observing her, studying her movements. It was not the security AI. It was something else, something more subtle, more intelligent. Anya realized with a growing sense of dread that she was not alone in the system. There was another entity present, a ghost in the machine, its motives and origins unknown. Anya, her heart pounding against her ribs, had to make a choice. Would she continue her mission, risking exposure to this unknown entity? Or would she retreat, leaving the data behind and hoping to warn the resistance of the threat that lurked within the digital heart of Synthetic Labs? 11. Neo-medieval. In a world dominated by technology, where virtual realities bled into physical existence and the lines between human and machine blurred, a small community in the French countryside had chosen a different path. They called themselves the neo-medievals, and they had rejected the digital world, embracing instead a simpler, more grounded way of life. Their village was a haven of stone and timber, built with traditional methods, powered by renewable energy, and governed by a council of elders. They farmed the land, practiced ancient crafts, and told stories around crackling fires, their lives a quiet rebellion against the relentless march of progress. The neo-medievals were not Luddites. They understood the power of technology. But they believed that it had been misused, that it had led humanity down a path of division and destruction. They sought to preserve the best of the past, to rediscover the wisdom of their ancestors, and to create a future where technology served humanity, not the other way around. Their way of life was a challenge, a constant struggle against the encroachments of the outside world. Corporations sought to exploit their land, factions tried to recruit them, and the ever-present lure of the Metasphere tempted their youth with its promises of escape and virtual fulfillment. But the neo-medievals endured, their community a beacon of hope in a world consumed by digital darkness, a testament to the enduring power of human connection, the beauty of simplicity, and the strength that came from living in harmony with nature. 12. The convergence. The air above the ruins of an ancient Anunnaki temple crackled with an energy that felt both ancient and terrifyingly new. Representatives from Zion, the Vatican, and the Resistance stood in a tense triangle, their weapons trained on each other, their faces illuminated by the ethereal glow emanating from the temple's central chamber. The serpent, an entity of unimaginable power that had slumbered beneath the earth for millennia, was stirring. Its whispers had been growing louder, its influence bleeding into the physical world, disrupting ley lines, twisting perceptions, and fueling a global descent into chaos. Each faction believed it held the key to controlling the serpent, to harnessing its power for their own ends. Zion sought to merge with it, to become a god machine that would rule the digital and physical realm. The Vatican believed it could bind the serpent to its will, to use its power to enforce a new world order based on faith and obedience. The resistance, desperate to prevent either outcome, sought to sever the serpent's connection to the world, to return it to its slumber before it consumed everything. As tensions rose and accusations flew, a single figure emerged from the temple's shadows. It was Cleopatra VII, resurrected from the depths of time, her eyes burning with an ancient wisdom, her voice echoing with the power of the Nile. She had been awakened by the serpent's stirring, drawn to this place of convergence. She knew the truth, the history that had been lost to time, the secrets that had been buried beneath layers of myth and propaganda. The serpent was not an entity to be controlled, it was a force of nature, a primal energy that flowed through the very fabric of reality. Tampering with it, seeking to harness its power, was folly, a path that led only to destruction. Cleopatra, her voice ringing with authority, called for unity, for a cessation of hostilities. The serpent could not be defeated, but it could be appeased, its energy redirected, its influence balanced. The fate of the world, teetering on the brink of a digital apocalypse, rested on the choices they made in this moment. Would they heed Cleopatra's wisdom, or would they succumb to their own ambitions, their desires for power and control? These stories, each with its own unique flavor of cyberpunk grit and dystopian dread, offer glimpses into the complex and interconnected world of the provided source materials. They explore the themes of technological manipulation, the battle for control of information, and the enduring human spirit's struggle for freedom and autonomy. One potential next step in understanding this world further could be exploring the moral and ethical implications of specific technologies, like neural rewriting and VR-induced psychological manipulation. How might these technologies be used for good or for evil? What safeguards could be put in place to prevent their misuse? Examining these questions can offer a deeper understanding of the characters' choices and the overall trajectory of this dystopian future.